What's going on, you guys? This is New York Adventurer 1994 here, and today is Monday, May 20th, 2024, and it's actually an anniversary for two trips. And there's the May 2016 trip when I was at Disney. Like 8 years ago today, I went to the Magic Kingdom on May 2016, but I want to talk about these other two trips I went on in May. That is actually the first anniversary of and the 10th anniversary of. So I'm going to go with the one that took place in 2014 first. So I got my confirmation from religion back in 7th grade, and as a present, like back in April, my mom booked a Great Wolf Lodge trip for me and my whole family, my nana included. So on April 22nd, which was Earth Day that year, my mom booked a trip for Great Wolf Lodge because I was receiving my confirmation and we were going to Great Wolf Lodge. So I actually got my confirmation on Mother's Day back in 2014. And boy, was that a nice Mother's Day present. It was May 11, 2014, on a Sunday. And we left on Tuesday, May 20th, 2014. I almost said 2024 because the year number has a 4 in it. That's the funniest thing. But 3 days before that, my brother had a recorder concert at my former high school, and there was an art show going on at the high school, and throughout that weekend we were packing for the vacation. And we left Tuesday, May 20th, 2014, and we did what we normally did at Great Wolf. We played at the water park for a few hours, and then we went to the arcade, and then we had dinner. We did what we normally did, and the next morning it was May 21st, and we were already ready to go home. And we had Pizza Hut before we left and went back to Long Island. I actually came back on the 21st, which is the same day in 2016 I came home from Disney, which will be the 8th anniversary tomorrow of that. And I'm actually planning to upload the return flight from this past Disney trip on that day tomorrow, on the 8th anniversary of my return from the May 2016 Disney trip. Yeah, so I did what I normally did in Great Wolf. There was nothing new. And we actually did Magi Quest for the first time, from what I remember. So, and yeah, it was actually during the Eastern Conference Finals, when the Rangers were facing the Montreal Canadiens that year in the Eastern Conference Finals in 2014. And this is not the only time I went to Great Wolf during the playoffs. I actually went to Great Wolf in May 2017, and they were playing the Ottawa Senators in the second round. Yeah, that's funny. They were playing against Eastern Canadian teams during both visits and in the playoffs. And it was like some time after the Rangers eliminated Montreal when I went to Great Wolf in 2017. But this was during the Ottawa series when I went to Great Wolf in 2017, that May. So, yeah, I want to talk about the next trip. So, it was Saturday, May 20th, 2023. And this was actually the first ever time I went to Albany. Today is the first anniversary of when I first went to Albany for the first time. And this was also the first year I did the Best Buddies walk at the Crossgates Mall, Robbie. Yeah, this was actually my first ever visit to Albany, New York's capital. And this was actually the time where Robbie's mom was still alive, but she had cancer. So yeah, it's pretty sad to think about today. But I really wanted to tell you guys this. So I left at like 10:30 in the morning, and Me and his parents drove 3 hours to get to Albany. We arrived there in like the early afternoon, and we actually had plans that day. We ate at Junior's first, and then we went on the Dutch Apple cruise and rode along the Hudson River for 2 hours. Yeah, we took the Dutch Apple cruise in the city of Albany, and we rode along the Hudson River for 2 hours as the sun was setting. And we spent like the first hour going down the Hudson River, and then we spent the next hour moving back up to Albany. Yeah, it was a 2 hour cruise, and there was music playing, and a lot of people were hanging out on the ship's deck, and there were a lot of snacks being given out. Yeah, it was like a little cruise on the Hudson River. It wasn't like that though. It's not like one of those ridiculously huge cruise ships. It's like a little cruise called the Dutch Apple, and you just ride along the Hudson River having a party. And then we went back, and then we went to bed. We watched Beauty and the Beast that night. I was with Robbie and his friend and his roommate, which is also his friend. I was with Robbie and his roommate, and we were all watching Beauty and the Beast that night. And then the next morning, we went to the Crossgates Mall, and we did the walk, and we had that party at the walk in like the center of the mall. Yeah, it was my first time getting acquainted to Albany. I had to get used to everything the first time. Yeah, I only went to Albany 3 times so far. I don't know when I'm coming back, but we don't know yet. And I went home that Monday. Oh snap. After I went to the walk, we went up to Troy, New York, which is not too far from Albany, and we ate at another restaurant that day. And then we hung out back at the house for hours, and I went to bed. And then I left back to Long Island on that Monday morning, which was May 22nd. And we had breakfast at Cracker Barrel before we headed home. And then I was on my 2-hour car ride back to Long Island. And I had such a different feeling back then to this year when I came back from the walk. When I came home, I was just relieved to be home. I was just happy to see my parents again. I didn't have any problems at all. I'm just saying, I'm just happy to see my parents like I always am. I'm just excited to see them because I haven't seen them in 2 days. It was so happy to be home. I was just so relieved to be home. And nothing else mattered. I loved Albany, but I was just as happy to be home. And it's been a whole year since I went to Albany for the first time. Yeah, I had so much different feelings back then. Even with the fact that Robbie's mom was still around at the time. It was like her last full year of being around before she passed away back in March. But this year, when I came back from the walk back in April, when I was doing my second consecutive Best Buddies walk, when I came home that day from Albany back in April of 2024 this year, I had a totally different feeling unlike last year. I was really happy to see my parents again, but I kind of felt dread knowing that this was the first trip without Robbie's mom around anymore. Yeah, I was really sad that trip. I was really sad that she wasn't around anymore. I had a great time in Albany, I really did, but I really felt sad inside that she wasn't around anymore. And this was like the first trip that was like this. So despite being happy that I had a great time in Albany and went to walk for a second straight year, and being happy to see my parents when I got home, I just didn't really have the same feelings that I had the year before, where it was just that. Yeah, I felt the dread of Robbie's mom not being around anymore. I was just really sad, and I was also really tired also. I ended up coming down with the allergies after that. I ended up having this bad cough. So it was kind of bad luck this trip, unlike last year. But I still had a great time in Albany last month. Yeah, even though those feelings are still there. So yeah, it's been a whole year since I went to Albany for the first time, and it's been 10 years since I went to GWL May as a confirmation present for leaving religion. So I guess that's it. Bye.